At the edge of a highly beautiful mountain range, there is a large and expansive forest. In the center of this forest, there is a magnificent, big tree that is hundreds of years old. Its trunk is so thick that even 10 people embracing it cannot reach around it, and its roots plunge deeply into the ground. Its branches are so vast that they can hide the sky. At the base of this big tree, beside a small stream, grows a slender and graceful little bamboo. The stem of the little bamboo is thin and hollow inside. Whenever the wind blows, the rustling sound of the bamboo leaves emerges, bringing peace to the forest along with the sound of the flowing stream. The big tree is always proud of its massive size and strength. Whenever the gentle breeze blows, while other plants sway, the big tree stands tall and completely motionless like a mountain, full of pride. One day, the big tree looked at the little bamboo at its base and started speaking in a mocking tone. "Hey, little bamboo, you are so weak. With just a single gust of breeze, you sway this way and that, almost touching the ground. Look at me. No matter what kind of wind comes, I don't need to bow my head. You really are a pitiful little plant." The little bamboo gently swayed its leaves in the wind and replied in a calm voice, "My friend Big Tree, having great strength doesn't mean just being hard and rigid. When the wind blows, I gracefully sway along with the wind's direction. This is not surrendering, it is understanding and accepting nature, adapting to it. Things that are too rigid will one day break." The giant tree laughed loudly and, "Ha ha ha ha, adapting to nature, you say? How meaningless. Nothing can move my firm roots and thick trunk. I am the king of this forest. A weak plant like you shouldn't try to lecture me," he said, ending the argument. A few days later, the entire sky of the forest turned dark. The previously clear sky was covered by gloomy, dark clouds, and the entire surroundings became quiet and still. Soon, fierce winds began to blow. Along with the howling sounds of the strong wind, raindrops fell violently onto the leaves. Suddenly, lightning flashed, and a massive roar of thunder shook the entire forest. This was no ordinary rainstorm. It was a fiercely powerful hurricane, the likes of which had not been experienced in many years. The rain poured down onto the ground, and the small stream in the forest overflowed, making roaring sounds of rushing water. The wind speed gradually increased, and small trees and bushes were blown away, almost uprooted from the ground. The ones that suffered the most from the storm's impact were the tall trees. The big tree stood its massive body upright with all its might, trying to defy the storm. Whenever the fierce wind struck its branches, it stood firm without giving in at all. "I will never bow my head. I don't need to care about a wind like this." It fought against nature with its pride. But the storm did not lessen. It only became more severe. The strong winds tried to tear apart the big tree's branches, and the pouring rain battered its trunk. The little bamboo at the base was completely the opposite of the big tree. When the fierce winds blew, the little bamboo did not keep itself rigid. It bent downwards along the direction of the wind, almost touching the ground. When the rain poured down heavily, the bamboo leaves received the rainwater and let it flow back down to the ground. It didn't try to defy the storm, but instead flowed along adaptively, like a part of the storm. As time passed, the big tree's strength depleted. Its rigid trunk could no longer withstand the impact of the fierce wind, and creak, creak sounds began to emerge. It wanted to give in and bend down, but its overly rigid body and pride did not allow it. Finally, in one sweep of an extremely fierce tornado, crack, snap, crash, with a world-shattering sound, the hundreds of years old big tree, which had considered itself the king of the forest, snapped in half from the middle and crashed violently to the ground. Its roots were kicked out from the soil, and its magnificent branches were ruined in the mud. The overly proud big tree had absolutely failed in the face of nature. When the next morning arrived, the great storm had ended. The sky cleared up again, and soft sunlight beamed down into the forest. Aside from the drip, drop, sounds of water droplets falling from the leaves, the forest was incredibly peaceful. On the ground, due to the storm's impact, uprooted big trees and broken branches could be seen everywhere. At that time, there was an amazing sight. The little bamboo, which had been lying almost flat on the ground, gradually stood back upright as soon as it received the sunlight. Its stem was not broken at all, and because the rain had washed them, its leaves were even greener and brighter than before. It silently felt the sunlight while looking at the fallen big tree. It survived, not because it had too much strength, but because it knew when to bend. From this short story, we gain very important lessons for life. Rather than stubbornly resisting the difficult storms encountered in life, we need to adaptively accept the situation and handle it flexibly like the little bamboo. Sometimes, when situations are extremely bad, bowing one's head is not a lack of courage or a surrender. It is the best survival strategy of cultivating strength to stand up again when the storm is over. The big tree broke because it could not let go of its pride and past grandeur. Only when we can lower our egos as needed can we possess a greener life in the future. Therefore, when storms enter your life, may you be able to apply the wisdom of bending adaptively like the little bamboo so that you are not blown away with the wind or snapped in half. Thank you for your support.